Rise, Tarnished, and welcome to the Soulsbuds Podcast, where two buds rest at a bonfire to yap all things Souls games. We're your hosts, Eric Shulkin.
Levi Winslow.
Hey, Levi. Okay, so this is exciting today. Episode 2.
Yep, episode 2.
Episode 1 in the books, and we...
One and done.
Yeah, no, that was it. We weren't going to do any more.
No.
Oh, but wait. Would you like to join me in the future? That was cool, huh?
Things are a little bit different.
Yeah, a little different now. For the audio listeners, I clap my hands and we're in 4K HD now.
Yes,
so.
finally. No more pixelated 720p looking like Skype on a webcam.
We didn't know we were going to record that first episode in video, but yeah, no. No one cares about this. Let's get into this episode.
I mean, I like the look, but yeah.
Oh, no, this is sick, and we're going to keep improving. But there's so much to talk about today, Levi. Like,
Yes.
This is like, we have like huge news to cover that dropped on us last night.
Right, but wait, before we get there.
Oh my God.
Before we get there, I have to snitch on myself, actually.
Yes.
Because in the first episode, I was completely fucking wrong. Like, very wrong. Everything that I said about my story was completely wrong. And instead of talking about Dark Souls 2, I meant Dark Souls 1.
No, let's back up. You mean your first Souls-like story?
My first Souls-like story where I was talking about what got me into the genre, the games that I had played, a lot about Dark Souls 2, how it was, the game that like was really from software in a way. No, I was talking about Dark Souls 1. Completely wrong.
And when I was like, I thought Dark Souls 2 was kind of the lower point in this, and you're like, no, that's Dark Souls 3. I was right.
Call me Pinocchio, because I was a liar.
Hey, Pinocchio.
Damn, I can't believe I did that to us.
It's my Jiminy Cricket. How was that?
It was pretty good. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you for your candor, your bravery, your forthrightness. I'm sorry to do this to you, but I'm gonna have to revoke your Souls card at this time. Yeah. So,
damn,
I'm gonna need you to hand this over.
Gonna have to,
I take no pleasure from this. Yeah. Okay. Gonna. That's the sound of your game knowledge dying and your credibility dying temporarily until we see fit to restore the Souls card. And I'm not even going to tuck it away. I'm optimistic. I'm going to put it under the script because I think you could get it back soon.
I mean, hopefully I can.
We'll see how you do.
Right. I might get replaced by AI if I keep getting wrong like that. But okay. But okay. Big, huge news, right? Big, huge news.
Big news, huge news, large news, in charge news.
Massive news.
We'll stop. Let's hey, listen, we may not always be the smartest on here. We're the Souls buds, not the Souls professors, right? But we're talking about big news. Yesterday.
Last night,
Elden Ring was announced, was confirmed in a deadline article and attached to Alex Garland and the movie studio A24.
What?
Yeah, so this is a movie adaptation of obviously famed Soulsborne game from software game Elden Ring, which you and I have both played extensively. Many people have played extensively. Over 30 million people have played.
Wait, for real? That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
God damn.
Over 30 million tarnished. Now my intro makes even more sense that we do this, right?
Rise, tarnished.
They be rising all the time.
Elden Ring movie. Alex Garland is attached, A24.
What was your first reaction when you saw this news, which was brought to our attention by producer Artem? Yesterday.
Yeah. At first I was like, huh?
I said, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that tracks. And then I was like, Lord of the Rings meets Edge of Tomorrow?
I don't mind that. And my first actual thought was like, how are they gonna do this?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess we could talk a little bit about what is the narrative structure of Elden Ring and how do we feel like it can play into a film? Let's back up because there's actually like so much lore. There are entire YouTube channels dedicated to lore.
Shout out to Vatividya.
The professor, the True Souls professor. Yeah.
Chalice. I think her name is Witch Chalice or Chalice the Witch.
Witch Chalice?
I believe that's her name.
Isn't there Zuli the...
Zuli the Witch, yes. That's who I'm talking about.
That's who we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Witch Chalice sounds sick, though.
That does sound sick. But yeah, Zuli the Witch, Vatividya, great YouTubers, great lore tubers. Yeah, crazy narrative, interlocked with item descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
It, like, if you try to reduce it, it's, you're a tarnished trying to restore the Elden Ring, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what would be the... There'd be, like, a lot of telling and showing in the opening cinematic or whatever they'd do for this. Is like, once upon the time, there was the Great Ring, and then it was shattered. The Golden Vow. The
demigods. And
the children of...
Horax.
America. Yeah, Horax Lu. There's, like, so much character names and terminology. It's a lot of jargon.
Yeah,
it's a lot of jargon to make into something easily digestible. And like, when I heard this, I'm incredibly excited. I felt struck by a bolt of thunder. I'm like, are they really?
Are they doing this?
Like financially. Financially, it makes sense, Like, this is a huge
30 million people after all.
30 million.
Like,
people.
that's a huge audience.
If we're talking from a cold-blooded studio exec, hey, what's a big IP we could get into, And it could be a whole universe. I'm hearing that our audio levels are being too awesome right now. But yeah. Okay, so there's so much to cover.
Yes,
and what was I going to say? There's just so much to talk about.
There's so much to talk about.
Absolutely spun up. Like, how can this even begin to be one movie? Are they setting this up as a trilogy? Because, like, okay, here's one of the first things I actually did. I texted everyone I knew besides us who had played Elden Ring. I'm like, did you see this? Did you see this? What do you think? Like, this is crazy. How is this possible? And amongst the, range of responses I got is like, how can this possibly be a trilogy? How are they going to balance the tone here? Because in many respects, A24 is the perfect match for this, which we should talk a little bit more later. And Alex Garland, I think, is a very interesting choice as director, which we'll talk about more too. But, like, Elden Ring, obviously, in the Souls games in general, like, dark, gothic fantasy.
Gritty.
Obviously, look at our fucking set. We're going to get a skull at some point, I think.
That'd be sick.
Future shows. But it also has kind of a deeply sardonic, like, humorous layer. They're fucking jar guys. They're little jar dudes.
How are you going to do that? That has to be CG, right? And so when you're thinking,
I don't know if they're going to find jars that talk or stick smaller, whatever the PC term is, Peter Dinklage's in jars. I don't think we could do that.
No, I mean, maybe they do like a Big Bird situation, like a costume, but I just imagine that would be so unwieldy.
What if Big Bird's in this? I don't know. Netflix just bought Sesame. I don't even know what can happen anymore, in properties.
It's crazy. Okay, let's back up a little bit more, right? Yeah. Right? Let's back up a little bit more.
What is Elden Ring about? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I just feel like, again, story-wise, it's very simple, but it's almost like it reduces it in such an kind of infantile way, right? It's a story about a person rising up to restore the Elden Ring. That's just like on a base level what it is.
A very basic
hero's journey. Mm-hmm. But there's so much more to it when you start talking about Mikola, what is her brother's name?
You mean Millennia?
Millennia and Mikola.
Yeah, Millennia, the sister, and Mikola,
the brother.
The kindly, featured in Shadow Tree of the Erdtree. We're gonna say some insane names over the course of and there's just so many characters. Like, I almost even want to talk about, like, what's your ideal fan casting, but that may be
too soon, But also,
episode.
Like, there's Patches,
I know who Patches should be, though. Can I just say that right now?
Yes, go.
So I watched the movie
Charlie Day.
That's kind of funny. No, I watched the movie, the Alex Garland movie Men last night, which I want to talk about too later, and its possible influences on this movie.
Let's talk about it now.
Nah.
You're going right into it.
Okay. Well, all right, sure. The main actor, but we were talking about the story. Whatever. We're all over the place. We're excited.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
We're excited. We're nuts.
Insane.
We're having fun.
Masochist.
Masochist. Rory Kinnear is the main character of Men. He plays multiple characters. He's one of these actors where if you saw the picture of him, you might be like, oh, that guy.
Right.
I think he's like often bald. He often goes around bald, and or he has sparse hair. I don't know. I'm not calling him out right now. I'm sure he can grow thick. But he has kind of like very much that Patch's nature of like, can I trust you? You know? Like,
right. Very unreliable, very shifty, shady, grifter type energy maybe.
Yeah, grifter type energy. Most of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to go too into fan casting, but I just happened to be watching Men, and I saw him, and like he's a collaborator with Alex Garland. He makes perfect sense for Patches, and there are so many characters that could ostensibly be in this movie. So, okay, I think this might actually be the as I try to catch my breath.
Yeah, I know, right? Like relax. Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. It's cool. It's cool. They're making a fucking Elden Ring movie. I can't believe this, Levi.
I know, it's actually wild.
If I could vibrate out of my skin,
you feel like you're vibrating.
Yeah.
It's so hot in here right now, and it's because of Eric's energy.
I am like a radiator.
It's hot, y'all.
Just like putting out enthusiasm. Okay, I think here's the actual question instead of like trying to summarize the larger Elden Ring narrative structure, which is like kind of a very, as you alluded to, kind of a basic cut and dried hero's journey, and you're a faceless protagonist too.
Yeah. You don't talk, you don't have like much of a, I don't want to say a presence, because obviously you kill you become the Elden Lord in the end, so like you really impact the whole of Limgrave, but like you're not a real character. You're just kind of like this embodied person that just so happens to be in the world, right? Like you're not a named person.
No. Like it's a created character type mechanic like most Souls games, except Sekiro, I guess.
Yeah.
But like you were kind of led through the story via other characters, and it's a sprawling narrative. You're kind of told roughly where to go, and I could just see it translating to like, okay, maybe this main character that they have in this movie actually doesn't say much, and like they are kind of just led through as a player character might
like a silent protagonist type.
Kind of. I could see it working, and okay, but before we get into that too much more, I've already said that phrase like 4 fucking times because there's so much to talk about.
Madness. Let's back up one more time, right? Let's back up one more time.
Is there something you want to say? Or
Yeah.
Go. Okay.
Yeah, let's back up one more time because I think we still have to talk about the exact news of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, Alex Garland, A24, Elden Ring movie, no release date. Alex Garland is writing and directing it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. No one cast, no release date. None of that.
George R.R. Martin producing.
Mm-hmm. Where's our book?
Okay, real quick. George, I love that you love my camera here, that you love new projects. Me too.
Yeah.
I need you to finish Winds of Winter. You've been working on it 11 years. You've written yourself into a corner. We all know it. I feel bad. You feel bad. It's not done. I need you to just cut back a little, buddy. All right? Thanks.
Love you.
Moi.
Okay. We've got Alex Garland, who talked about it already, worked on Men, right? Worked on Annihilation.
Quite a few movies.
Worked on Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Was a writer-director for all 3 of these movies that we just mentioned. Civil War.
Warfare, which I haven't seen yet.
Haven't seen that either. But also, okay, this is maybe interesting to viewers, to listeners. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. He worked with Ninja Theory. Famous kind of character action studio behind Ninja Gaiden, right?
No way. What? He
Yes.
worked on Ninja Gaiden?
Ninja Theory. Ninja Gaiden is Ninja Theory, isn't it? That's not Team Ninja. Am I tripping?
Ninja Theory is the developer for
Hellblade.
Hellblade Senua.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Senua Saga. Yeah.
No. I misheard you. I very eagerly want to be like Ninja Gaiden. No, you said Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory, but didn't they? We should look this up, right?
Maybe they picked up one of the.
We should look this
Ninja
up
Gaiden.
because I think maybe it's Team Ninja, but I think Ninja Theory did Ninja Gaiden. While Eric's looking that up, because I'm probably wrong again, so I'm never getting my Souls card back. Alex Garland worked on. So he worked with. Go ahead.
Heavenly Sword.
Yes.
Hellblade.
So not Ninja Gaiden. That must have been Team Ninja.
Probably Team Ninja.
You're
never getting this back.
Never getting it back. How do I not know this when I played Neo, and Neo is Team Ninja, and I love Neo? That doesn't make any sense. I'm dumb.
They did the Devil May Cry reboot as well.
So
which one was he a writer on?
There we go.
So they're a British video game developer. Alex Garland is British. So.
Yeah. So he specifically worked on Ninja Theory's 2013, I think it is.
The Devil May Cry.
Before I get there, he specifically worked on, it was 2010, the action-adventure game Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. I don't know if you've played this, Xbox 360. No. It's like an action-adventure game, kind of third-person, beat-em-up. It's kind of it's loosely based on the story of Journey to the West.
Okay, so Chinese mythological epic, yeah.
A little bit based on that. So he was let me see here. I believe he co-wrote that game. Co-wrote Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, and then according to the internet, he was a story supervisor on that DMC Devil May Cry reboot. Now, wait. In a GQ interview in April of this year, he said he had fuck all to do with that.
Wait, what? I'm confused.
He was a story supervisor on this game. DMC Devil May Cry reboot, for those who don't know, came out in 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. Xbox 360 rebooted the Devil May Cry franchise with like a emo Dante, very edgelord-esque, had a whole Bill O'Reilly, fuck it, we'll do it live type moment in there. It was crazy.
Not the comparison I was expecting.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Did Dante not always have that energy, though? I'm not a DMC player, but like...
Not really. I mean, he's like... He's not edgy in the way that like I don't know. I'm gonna describe Dante super fucked up here, but here we go. At least the DMC one. He's not edgy in the way of like a 4chan edgelord posting, racist memes to be edgy type that Dante probably would be in this DMC reboot if he were an online poster right now.
Sounds awful. Okay.
So Dante typically is like this very comical, very snarky, very cocky type of half demon, half human. He wasn't played like that at all in the DMC reboot. So maybe that's why Alex Garland said he had fuck all to do with it. I don't know, but he was a story supervisor on that game. So I thought that was very interesting.
He distanced himself from that.
Absolutely. He was like, that was the first thing he said in that interview. They were like, we want to talk to you about DMC Devil May Cry and some of the other games that you worked on. And he was like, nah, I had fuck all to do with that. And then they just like laughed. And I was like, oh, okay.
And they moved on?
Yeah, and then they just moved on.
Wait, this is really interesting, actually. Is Alex Garland ashamed of his time with games? And now he's attached to a game film project?
It's really interesting.
Or was it just the DMC thing?
It might have just been a DMC thing, because he specifically co-wrote that Enslaved Odyssey to the West. He specifically co-wrote that with the one of the co-founders of Team Ninja, but was a story supervisor. So I don't know. I don't know what story supervisor in games means. Maybe he just like looked at the script, contributed some ideas, was like, yeah, that sounds cool, I guess.
I mean, it could be like George R.R. Martin,
producer.
In Elden Ring, he just gave overall, I think, guidance to the narrative structure of Elden Ring. Okay, wait. One more question, though. Is Enslaved like an action-adventure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Action-adventure.
Certainly not a Soulslike, because it was still very new then. Dark Souls had just come out. Or Demon Souls had
had just came out. I think that was 2009 or something. Yeah. But like that had just came out. And then he was working at Team Ninja on that game. And then DMC.
So what do you think this may mean then? That so Alex Garland, all right, so I did not know this. Alex Garland understands what couldn't go into a game.
That's what I'm
structure
saying.
of a
Like,
game.
He's worked on games, at least 2 that we know of for sure. Maybe there's a couple more in there. I didn't see any other credits for him.
So the fact he agreed to this is actually kind of interesting.
Means something. Like he
or
sees some
he
sort
likes
of
money.
potential here.
I don't know. He could like money too, but also
capitalism.
Yeah, no, he could just hey, do we know if he games? Maybe he was playing this and wanted to be attached to it.
Hey Alex, you game?
You game, Alex.
Mr. Garland, you play Soulslikes?
Soulsbudspod@gmail.com.
Let us know.
You can email us. Thank you. Let's back up again.
Yeah, back up one more time.
Because I want to ask you a couple more questions. We're going longer on this segment than we intended to, and that's okay because this news came in yesterday, and this is as closest as we'll get to breaking news ever. This is crazy. Breaking news. Hello, what? There's no one talking to me.
Yeah, there's no producer on the other line. It's just us.
What would you expect to see? What do you need to see? I won't touch the table again. What do you need to see in an Elden Ring movie for it to feel true or a success? It's like, oh man, I can't believe they didn't include blah. I could go first.
Yeah.
I need to see the Radon Festival.
Yes.
I need the Radon Festival because it actually slots so well as a movie device like Mad Max Thunderdome. That's 100%. Kind of it.
That's like I could see that being as like the big climactic ending or something, that then cuts off to like Elden Ring 2 or whatever.
Thank you. Exactly. And that goes exactly into what I was thinking. I was like, there's a whole fucking movie just getting up to Radon. Like, how is this not going to be a trilogy?
Yeah.
But that's something else. So what do you think you might like to see in one Elden Ring movie?
I think I need to see the Millennia fight. Specifically, I need to see not just waterfowl dance, and I need to see like our main character get absolutely destroyed by this move. I also need to see her transform second phase Scarlet Rock Queen, where she just busts out the
blossom,
gorgeous rotted butterfly wings. I need to see that. If there is no Millennia, I mean, I'm not saying that like it needs to have Millennia.
We could get in a flashback. Millennia and Radon fighting. We're not going to get up to Millennia.
No, definitely not in the first movie.
We'll see her.
Yeah. I just need to see Millennia, I think. Okay, so we're talking about this. We're talking about what we need to see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that if they're going to do this movie, it's a prequel.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Because we don't have anything leading up to the events of the ring being destroyed, right? Like Shadow of the Erdtree takes place after the events of the main game.
It would be so cocky for them to start with a prequel, honestly. Usually you get the main and you get people intrigued, and then it's the prequel. It's like, how did it end up like this? But for them to be like, all right, first, Elden Ring, shattering of Marika or something
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, no, for real. I think I can really see that because I just
Night
don't
of the
know.
Long, what's it called? The Assassins.
This is the time to look it up.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the time to
where
look
the
it up.
Assassins kill Godfrey the Golden. And,
yeah, exactly. Because I just don't know how you start an Elden Ring movie. So, the longest movie, right? We looked it up a little earlier. The longest movie is an Argentinian movie. Came out in 2018. It is what did I say earlier? It's like a fantasy musical or something?
Yes, musical fantasy.
Musical fantasy called La Flor, right?
Yeah.
Which is the flower. It is 13 hours and 53 minutes long.
Yeah.
14 hours.
So one sitting for that one, you think? Or
yeah, definitely. I'm spending a whole Saturday, Sunday just watching the whole movie all the way
delivery.
Never
2 deliveries.
Leaving, rotted in bed. So someone will have to come check on me to make sure that I'm still good because I haven't answered my phone in 14 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the longest movie, right? Came out in 2018. That's the longest movie that I mean, there are longer movies, but it's one of the longest. Oppenheimer is 3 hours long. I don't know how long the Lord of the Rings trilogy is in total, but I imagine it's like 10 hours or something.
Hey, we talking extended edition or probably 11-ish, 11.
So I'm like,
hours.
Okay, it has to be, if it's not a 14-hour long movie,
no.
And if we don't know if it's going to be a trilogy, then it has to be at least 3 hours. And so how do they take the entirety of Elden Ring's story which is very simple on the surface, but really intricate when you get into itemization and
sprawling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It opens up as you continue. So, like,
how are they going to smash that into a respectable feature film 3 hours?
No clue. And they're gonna have to compress characters, I feel like,
or cut them out entirely,
Like
is Torrent making it?
Your trusty horse? I feel like yes. You need Torrent. You need Alexander the Jar.
You do need the jar.
You need the jar. You need the jar. Like, are they gonna get to Godric the Grafted? They have to. Limgrave, right?
They have to. What's the first boss? Like the very first boss that you're supposed to die to?
Morgoth.
No, not Morgoth. The very first boss, like right. After you fight the night boss in the
golden
dungeon, and then you get out and you fight that like 8-legged spider type boss that's supposed to kill you, and then you respawn back in Limgrave.
Yeah, are they gonna have that at all?
Are they just gonna cut that whole opening section out?
Yeah, what did they call that enemy again?
I cannot remember the name of that enemy.
Whatever.
Because I don't consider it an enemy, really. It's just like you're supposed to die to it.
Mm-hmm. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar. But
I don't.
They're going to have to. There's going to be a whole section of the Round Table Hold. We're going to have to meet everyone in the Round Table Hold.
Yep.
You know, like I can actually see like a decent narrative track, honestly. And we keep coming back to that. I could see, you know, hey, you come out, you into Limgrave, you meet White Mask Var, that fucking weirdo.
Creep.
Weird vibes from him.
Absolute creep. Just stalking you the entire time while you're in Limgrave. It's weird.
He calls you maidenless. That will be devastating. That
Rude.
line's got to be in there, right?
Oh, yeah. You're maidenless?
Alas, you're maidenless or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Virgin, essentially. It's a tough hit.
It is pretty jacked up. Lost 1,000 aura points.
What's aura? No. Listen, I've heard it. I actually don't know what it is, and perhaps we could talk later. Off air.
Oh my god, internet buds. That'll be a segment at some point. We'll talk about internet slang.
Yeah, I might have to. I don't actually know what it means.
Yeah, that's funny. So okay,
you meet your maiden at the campfire. She takes you to. She gives you Torrent's bell. She takes you to the Round Table Hold. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but
same.
You know, she's got the one eye.
Yeah, we know who we're talking about.
There's just so many names.
So too many names.
You go to the Round Table Hold. You get. There's just going to be so much lore dump and lore exposition. It's like, yeah, there's all these demigods. We need you. You're the Tarnished. We need you to take out, you know, all these ones. Like, maybe start with Godric. You know,
yeah,
like
Godric the Grafted, Morgoth.
There's going to have to be like, how are they going to handle like accidentally? Like, oh God, I'm in Caelid. I shouldn't be here.
Oh my god, yeah, the accidental Caelid arrival that happened to me, and
that's
then
iconic.
Absolutely demolished by like a death bird or whatever.
We're gonna need the birds. We're gonna need. I'm doing the jaws of the big dogs here.
I hate those dogs.
We're gonna need those enemies, and it's gonna have to end or lead up to Radahn. I feel like, and I don't know. They're gonna just have to compress that because obviously there's a million other things in between that I'm glossing over, but reasonably in a movie, like.
How does it happen?
I
think that's the big question.
And I'm excited to see. But there's a reason why I was so fucking shocked when I saw this. I'm like, oh my God, they're actually going to go for this. This is crazy.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. But I think knowing, you know, A24's track record with films, A24 is a great studio, great film production company. Like they put out great films almost all the time.
I feel like there's only a couple studios that would have gotten me excited with this news. Like if it were like, hey, it's MGM Studios or Lionsgate or whatever.
Blumhouse, I could see that.
Blumhouse would be good. They have to have horror credentials, you know. Neon would have been pretty cool, potentially, actually.
That's actually, I could see that.
But A24, great. They know how to nail the eeriness, the gross factor, the
atmosphere.
The what the fuck?
Yeah.
Which every Souls-like From Software game must pass that check, right? You have to mutter to yourself, what the fuck?
All the time. If a Souls game doesn't make you say, what the fuck, then it's not a good Souls game.
So A24 is great for that. Movies that actually immediately came to mind not immediately, when I thought some more about it, like what I think this movie will look like is actually The Green Knight. Have you seen this one with Dev Patel?
No.
So it's an adaptation of a English mythological Arthurian King Arthur tale. I'm not giving the exact right.
It already sounds kind of perfect, though.
And there are like giants in this, you know, that they have kind of like a really cool, somewhat restrained special effects for. Like it's the whole movie has kind of like I'm going to use the word again, uncanniness to this. Like, is this actually happening?
Right.
Is he
a little surrealness?
Surrealist, exactly. And surrealist is perfect for Elden Ring, and that's a movie with a very traditional hero's journey. So I actually think structurally we could be looking to Green Knight for what this Elden Ring movie could ostensibly look like. And the other one that I'm thinking a lot of too was a movie I saw last night, actually, Men. From 2022. I heard this movie was not amazing, honestly. So I'd been like putting off seeing it, but
Did you think it was all right?
I thought it was all right. You know, on our, let's use our own scale here, love, hate, huh?
Yeah.
I'd put it closer to huh.
Huh. Okay.
But I think it went for some stuff. And there was a decent amount to glean from it. Like, this is a movie set in the English countryside. There's like dilapidated villages, there's cemeteries. So I'm like seeing all this. I'm like, oh, this is a stage.
Okay. An Elden Ring. Yeah.
This is an Elden Ring stage. There's Rory Kinnear, Patches, who I think should be Patches. And here's the key thing for me, without spoiling a 2022 movie too much, there is, shall we say, a extended birth metamorphosis scene.
Okay.
In which limbs come out of someone else's mouth and they crawl out of them.
Oh, this is
for a while. And I'm watching
Elden
this
Ring boss.
Last night, I'm like, this is phase 2. You know, this is like any second phase of it.
This is what's the last boss in Elden Ring?
Oh, the Elden Beast.
Elden Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is some Elden Beast sounding boss. Yeah.
And I'm watching this, I'm like, either Alex Garland has played Elden Ring or Souls games, or he has like a similar sicko sensibility that makes him actually perfect to potentially helm this and nail the tone that I think will be tricky to nail, actually, to use the same verb twice. But
yeah, no, I think that's really it, right? I think the most important thing outside of like bosses or like the story structure or any of that is the tone. Like, I think you have to really understand Miyazaki and From Software's tone to really make this movie feel like Elden Ring. Because, I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll be an original story, maybe it'll have nothing really to do with the current understanding of Elden Ring, like maybe Night Rain isn't in there, Elden Ring isn't in there, Shadow of the Erdtree isn't in there, maybe it's like some completely different, maybe it's from a particular character, Mikola, Millennia, who knows, right? But if it doesn't have the tone of Elden Ring, then even if it's called Elden Ring, it's not going to feel like
That's a good point. And that actually may end up being the best solution for them. Like inside of the Elden Ring universe, just tell the story they want to.
Yeah. I think that makes it, like, again, I can see a prequel, like if that's what we're going to do, maybe, but I can also see it just being like an original story within the Elden Ring universe. Like, I don't know, Tales and Limgrave.
Tales of Limgrave. What if it's just like following the little hawks on the side of the cliff and it's just like totally chilling like the deer and just like, oh, it's fine
it's
here.
just like it's an environmental movie.
Yeah. It's just
Al Gore, Inconvenient Truth, but Elden Ring.
And then
Inconvenient Ring.
Al Gore, then he's like slaughtered by the Beastmen of Azula and Rip Gore.
Rip Gore.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And one more thing, actually, I just wanted to say about Alex Garland. He's very good in Annihilation and in Men, and I'm sure some of his other movies. He loves to shoot huge, wide shots.
Oh, yeah. There were a lot
stars.
of those in Ex Machina. Yeah.
Oh, Ex Machina, too. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh, he's ready for a Radon fight scene. You know, that's what it's all
Where
about.
Where everything is just like...
Yeah. And when you kill him, the stars stop. Like... That may have been how he got the job, honestly.
There's also that one boss that I'm trying to think of. You know, not Elden Beast, because Elden Beast is kind of like stars inside of a blobous monster. But there's like a boss later in the game that's like a scorpion-looking type boss with like a skull for its head, and it has like this giant tail that whips out at you. spectral something. I can't exactly remember the name of the boss. I've only actually seen it, but
it's the type of thing that come out of Annihilation, like
Absolutely.
that hybrid bear. I saw Annihilation one time in theaters. I'm good, actually.
yeah, that movie is crazy. I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it at home. That shit is crazy.
Tripped me out.
But I don't know.
He's got the weird factor, man. A24, Alex Garland, like, just to start to wrap this up, like I said already, there were a lot of studio and director pairings that would not have excited me like this would have. I think this makes a lot of sense. And now hearing what you just said, which was a really good point, like, I think their best method might be to just tell an original story with the characters' inspiration of Elden Ring. Don't be beholden to the actual narrative, because the narrative's insane.
It's
like,
absolutely insane. Like,
hey,
you can't follow it.
Here's a TV show, but this could be a recipe for them. Fallout wasn't
Perfect.
necessarily, locked into, beholden to that lore. It was kind of just a good Western TV show, sort of, and like everyone fighting over a MacGuffin, the head.
Exactly.
So they just made a good show and went from there, and that may be what we see with Elden Ring. It just has Elden Ring flavorings, delicious spices.
There's so many characters in Elden Ring, and I imagine that there are so many like unnamed characters that maybe we haven't met, don't know, aren't familiar with, that they can expand. Maybe Ella Purnell's character in Fallout was something similar. Maybe there was like a character like her in one of the Bethesda Fallout games that they were like, yeah, let's like take that like aspect of the story in the game and like expand it.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we like these elements of, Fallout, and they're like, we'll blow that up and turn it into like one person and create a story around that.
When we get
something like
I agree. When we get some casting news, we should play fan casting. We should play a game with that. I already put in Rory Kinnear. I put it out there. Is there someone? Just do one. What actor or actress would you like to see play the character?
Is Josh Brolin Thanos?
Yes.
Yes. Radon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
His voice, kind of like that.
I think his voice, I think his look, right? Because I'm thinking of Thanos, and I'm thinking about how Radon kind of looks. He's like this big, burly, huge, like extra jacked type guy on like floating on top of the smallest.
Are we going to hear Radon talk? We're going to hear Radon talk, though?
Probably not, but I mean, I can hear him grunting,
Okay,
and Josh Brolin, Thanos grunts a lot, I feel
How
like.
much would they have to pay Josh Brolin to grunt? Probably.
It's A24, baby. They got A24 money.
You're right. If I were him, I'd be like $1 million an hour to grunt.
To grunt.
It's like, all right, well, we'll do you for 15 minutes. And he's still doing good.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
Elden Ring movie.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to say before we move on? Or
I'm stoked. I
can't believe this.
Cautiously stoked.
I am throwing caution away. I'm putting my whole heart into this. I'm ready to be hurt, as I would be in Elden Ring. The game, and I think this actually makes a lot of sense. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see when it comes out.
But if we're just like, nah, let's not see it.
Yeah, the Soulsbuds won't see the Souls movie. No, we'll skip that.
Maybe matinee. Let's just go.
Go right into it.
So speaking of, I'm gonna dramatically look at this.
I mean, yeah, just
we're on page 2. Landed back on
Wait, gotta do it again.
That's good.
There we go.
Nice.
All right,
listen,
cool.
Levi, if I took the time to go to the local public library and print out the script, then we need to flip it dramatically over it.
Absolutely. Well, we actually have to pick them back up and then toss them all in the air once the podcast is over.
This ran me back $1.20. So.
Oh, they charge you at the library?
Yeah.
Nice crunch.
That was a good throw.
Oh, hit the you died. Oh, you died. So yeah, jumping back into it, right?
Okay, so we talked about an exciting movie adaptation of a Souls game, of a Souls classic. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Khazan, First Berserker Khazan.
How'd you first hear of this game?
So, okay, I first heard about this game probably some news article, but the demo, actually. Or at least that's how I first encountered the game. There was a free demo on PlayStation. I think it was, I don't know, a month or two before it came out. I played through it all in one sitting. I was like, this is great. Like, this is solid. Anime, Souls, basically. Think like Code Vein meets Lies of P meets Sekiro. Teeny tiny bit.
We're going to talk about the many influences in this game
for sure
in a little bit. But
yeah, demo is what hooked me. Played through it in one sitting, knocked it out. I think I was up until like 12 in the morning, 12:30, something like that. Immediately told you. I was like, hey, Eric, got a Souls game for you. First Berserker Khazan. Voiced by Ben Starr, Hot Star, right? Final Fantasy 16 voices Clive Rossfield.
Right. Remember, I'm not a Final Fantasy person. Let's remember that.
Right. Let's remember that. So okay,
Clive.
I don't have my Souls card. He doesn't have a Final Fantasy card, so that makes sense. Clive is the protagonist of Final Fantasy 16. He's the main character.
You haven't earned the Souls card back yet.
No, I haven't.
By the way,
I
just didn't want to get your hopes up quite yet. Proceed.
So yeah, I beat the demo. Was like, this is great. Eric, check it out. And then you played it.
And I did the exact same thing.
Stuck on it.
I just sat down and I played it for like 4 or 5 hours straight. This is like one of the more... Not that I've been playing a ton of demos recently, but this was one of the best demos I've played in quite a while.
I think it just does a really good job at like kind of introing you. You know, you said it earlier, right? Vertical slice, but it really does a good job at like introing you to what the game is about. I think the start of it is, I mean, it's supposed to be slow, but I thought the kind of like introduction of the weapons was a little bit trite. Like, come on, let me get the weapons.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the couple bosses that you fight in the game, you know, the way that the level is designed, it's not super intricate in the way that some other Souls games are. It's very, very linear, very simple, very basic, predictable.
And that's the main weakness of the game, which we can still talk about a little bit later. But yeah, that's true in the demo too.
Yeah,
and,
good demo though.
Great demo. And yeah, you know, that's fair about the weapons. I do think, as you just said, like what makes it so good, such a good demo is like the purpose of a demo should give you a taste of what the game at large is going to be. And this very much does that. And yeah, I played it all the way through. I couldn't stop because to me, this is the most engaging Souls game combat since Sekiro Shadows Die Twice to me. And I don't say that lightly. Sekiro is one of my favorite games of all time, period. Probably top 5.
It's got good combat. It's got really good combat.
I have not felt alive as much as I felt playing this game.
Oh my God, Khazan, his hot bod brings you back to life. I love it.
Well, that wasn't necessarily why, but Khazan is absolutely, definitely a hottie.
He is a hottie, for sure.
I think he's got like an 8-pack or something.
Something like that. I mean, he can washboard me.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That was awful.
That was awful.
Give me another card, actually. Do you have a joke card on?
A joke card. No.
And so many armor sets have him shirtless, but now that I think about it, you know, work with what you got.
Yeah,
right?
no, it makes sense, you know.
But Khazan,
exploitation.
Yeah. To go back, like, what am I trying to say here? To go back, this combat system is split generally between 3 different weapon skill trees.
Yep. Spear, greatsword, dual wield.
I'm a great sword adherent myself. We should talk about, you know, why we went the different directions we did.
Spear user.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Like piercing things.
Whoa. Cool.
Yep.
That wasn't dirty. I don't know.
It could be, I guess. But no, yeah, this demo was really cool, right?
And I bought it.
Immediately.
Right away
I think it was
after.
the same thing. I finished the demo and I was like, oh, I want more. Because once you beat the demo, you can't like go back a level and play more. You're just like done. So I was like, oh, damn, I really want more. So when it came out, I was like, oh, yeah, instant buy. Plus everything you play in the demo carries over to the full game, so you don't have to start over. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Absolutely jumping in.
And that actually wasn't even the case for me because I played the demo on PS5, but I got it again on PC because
that's crazy.
I wanted to. It was fun. I enjoyed it so much, though. I wanted to play it on Steam Deck, which is actually how I've played a large chunk of this game and how I like to play a lot of my Souls likes.
Of course.
Just, you know, stressed in bed, right?
Yep. in the dark.
That's right.
Not getting up, rotting in bed, but still gaming.
Covers over my head, like it's like a fort.
Like it's a fort. Oh my god! Like it's a fortnight.
Mm-hmm. No. No. I almost never buy games full retail, actually. To just speak once more to how completely this grabbed me. I've not felt this grabbed by a game in quite a while. Like, the combat was riveting. The story was interesting, at least in that first 4 or 5 hours. Maybe we could talk about how it develops a little more.
We could definitely talk about it.
I wanted to keep it going, and so I spent money I probably don't have, $60
In this economy.
In this, I'll say it again, behind this tariff wall.
It's tariffs.
But I went for it, and it speaks to this game, which I think is really quite excellent. We could jump ahead. We both say we really, really enjoyed this game a lot.
Oh, definitely. I think as of right now, because there are other Souls games coming out, which we'll talk about in another episode.
So many.
Stay tuned.
More every day.
Tons of Souls games coming out, but as of right now, and crazy thing, this came out March 27th or something.
Yeah.
Launched alongside another Soulslike, another anime Souls game, AI Limit. But as of right now, this might be my favorite Souls game of 2025. And of course, we're still early, right? It's barely the end of May as we're recording this. Still half the year left. Still tons of other Souls games coming out. But this right here it's sticking with me really hard.
I don't see Khazan winning any awards.
Maybe not.
I think it's going to be a lot of people's, it's going to be a lot of people's top 10 games this year or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
I think people who played it are going to, they're going to really love it. They're going to be into it.
The thing that sticks out the most for me when talking about Khazan, the story's mid, right?
Yeah.
It's very predictable. It's for those who don't know, for those who aren't playing, I'm sure tons of people have already beaten it.
Mm-hmm.
There's this big bad Ozma. Obviously, he's behind everything. And so whenever anything goes wrong, they're like, oh no, Elamane, not you too. And of course, it's Ozma. Oh, Bellarine, not you. Of course, it's Ozma. Oh no, Malika, not you too, Ozma.
So,
like, everything is Ozma's fault. It is so predictable in that
I think
way.
to explain this game's weakness, we need to look at what this developer has done also. Like, this Neo People, it's a South Korean developer
like
under the
Nexon, right?
under the publisher Nexon, which is a big publisher, Dave the Diver, some other games. But what Neo People? Neopol? What Neo has done before, their main series is Dungeon and Fighter, which is kind of like a Diablo-like crawler. And
this game is based on that.
yeah. I see elements of their narrative storytelling technique, shall we say, in it. Because, like, as you're alluding to, every time you go into an area, it's like, boy, I hope General Scalpel is okay. He's
never okay. They're never okay.
He's been locked in his room asking for blood for a while. Well, surely the great hero is fine. No, he's not all right. Like,
if he's in his room asking for blood, first of all,
who asks for blood?
Who asks for blood?
Blood gushers.
Unless you're some sort of vampire or blood gushes.
Yeah.
You're not just asking for blood. Or you're bloodborne.
Here's the decision tree in Khazan for NPCs. They're dead. They're corrupted.
They're
every so often they're totally fine. That's happened like 2 times. I feel like over all the levels. Like, please, could you find my wife? And,
Siona.
And like literally one time I have found, and they're okay. It's like, oh, you found me. I'm like, oh, I did.
Yeah, but yeah, most often it's they're dead.
Yeah.
Or they're corrupted. But either way, ultimate leads to they're dead.
And that's very Diablo to me, because like when you go into a dungeon, it's just like, the head of this church was praying, but he's been acting strangely the last couple days. I think I saw something about Diablo in his text. It's like, well, he's praying to Diablo now.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's like brainwashed and now is evil and has horns growing out of the front of his skull. So like, he's a demon.
So story, not the strong point here, which is like, it's, oh man, the first couple hours, you described it to me actually as riveting, I think. And I agreed. Like,
it's gripping. Like it
gripping.
really has like,
and good voice acting too.
Yeah, great. Ben Starr is great.
The Blade Phantom is some guy.
Is Margit. Yeah, I can't remember his name, the actual voice actor's name, but it's Margit.
Oh, okay.
In Elden Ring. You know, so like some good voice acting in there. Daphrona is a great voice actress as well. I can't remember what she's in, but she was fantastic in this game.
Okay.
Yeah,
a couple funny lines in here.
La la la, lacrima.
And lacrima is, of course, the like souls, the runes, the echoes, the whatever you want to call them, your currency for leveling up and things. But yeah, story's weak. Score, great. I love the music. Characters, pretty good, right? Character designs, awesome.
Character design, very good.
Combat
knocks it out of the park. Enemy design and variety, which is another very big one for me for Souls-likes to nail. I feel like they did a really good job here. It's harder for them to get into that gross, weirdy freakiness when you're anime cell shaded, I would say. But that we alluded to with why A24 is a good match for Elden Ring. But I think they do a great job. I love they have an enemy codex, which is always something I love in a game. It's like, tell me, what the fuck was that?
I wish that, because the codex is cool, but it's just like, you know, it's like field notes, right, with like a sketch of the boss.
There are some UI issues.
Yeah, so I wish that there was like a model, or like I can like see the boss a little bit more. But no, love the codex. There's a lot of good stuff here. You know, it's so giving me Neo a little bit. It's got a lot of Neo influence in there.
I think, in my opinion, we alluded to influences before. I think Neo is the #1 influence here, in my opinion. Actually, it has more Sekiro's parry, sparks flying, grittiness,
the sound of like the clash between weapons as you parry or block.
Most bosses are kind of, most are stamina centric, you know, wearing down their posture, what have you. That's where I think Sekiro comes in, although Sekiro is a much more scaled back, restrained gameplay experience, which is part of the reason why I love it. You know, think like there's no necessarily builds in Sekiro. You get the prosthetic arms, you can increase your health, but there's no like itemization, which is very much a thing in Neo and very much a thing here as well. In Khazan, I would actually argue a little too much itemization.
There's a bunch of useless shit that you get all the time. And you know what? That's like one of my biggest gripes when it comes to Souls-likes. Okay, look. Love collecting armor, right? Love collecting weapons. But at a certain point, there's just like diminishing returns where it becomes completely worthless. And I spend so much more time sifting through the menu, trying to figure out, okay, is this good? No, it's not. Let me just eliminate that. But wait, hold on. It is actually a part of a set that gives me a stat buff. Is that good? No, it's actually worse. So let me just eliminate that. But it's also colored higher than my current gear. So how is it worse? Oh, the defense is a little bit better, but I lose all these stats. There's too many just pointless armor.
A lot of stats, and Neo was very much like this too, actually. It's very finicky. Like there's a lot of, one of the reasons why I actually love playing on the Steam Deck is like I can do something else and I can just like mindlessly manage my inventory and stuff.
Oh my God, so much inventory management.
To be clear, I don't want this in a game necessarily. I think there's a fine line in, you know, having itemization options. I'm sure this is a tough game development question. There's a fine line between like having, armor set options and like giving the players choice about how they want to build, and just weighing us down with useless crap like gray stuff. Like, why do I need to trade this in for Lacrima to augment my gear or re-roll an attribute? I hate re-rolling attributes,
I hate re-rolling,
by the way.
yeah.
That's
what
some
is it,
Diablo
gambling?
That's some Diablo bullshit, actually.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
What the hell am I at? Las Vegas? What is this? Right. Khazan Vegas?
Yeah. Khazan. Spin a
Lacrima, a Blade Nexus. So speaking of options, right? I think you're talking about
slot
players.
machine is what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Speaking of options, you know, talking about player choice and freedom and things like that.
Yes.
A big reason for me to keep playing this game, and you know, I don't typically choose easy modes, but this game has an easy mode, and so.
Should we say both how far in the game we are?
Yeah. So you're at Hismar. You just beat Hismar.
I just beat Hismar
which
last
is a
night.
big ass, dumb ass, stupid ass, dragon with the biggest head possible that you can't hit.
May I take a moment to complain about Hismar, actually?
Get on your soapbox.
So,
this is a Soulsbuds soapbox right here. Soulsbuds soapbox.
Thank you. The original inspiration. So this game has had like a lot of great after release updates, and they added a boss rush mode recently. There are always two, right? So that's awesome. I think I even said to you offline, I'd love to see that in Khazan, like Sekiro added eventually, and they did. And there's even another cooler mode that I haven't checked out yet because I haven't beaten the game yet, which is part of this because this motherfucking lizard is so fat and big.
I fucking hate this
and
boss.
has a bug in which if it like gets staggered and falls near the edge of the map, there are invisible walls on this boss map, by the way. You can't reach his head and do the necessary, brutal attack, stagger attack, and it
just makes the boss so much longer.
You basically have to start over because, like, Hismar is very much a mechanics check, I would say, a parry check up my alley. In theory, I love brink guarding, I love parrying, but you wear his stamina down over time.
Right.
And his attacks are overall very super slow and very deliberate. So, like, Hismar is just a slower paced, bordering on boring fight. And maybe we should talk about some of the bosses we like more or less later after this big question we're going to get to. But
no, we can talk about that first, I think.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I'm not quite done with Hismar, which is like, what is that, 85% through the game?
It's something like that.
Or
yeah,
90%?
80%, 85%. Because then you've got like You've got one more boss and then Ozma.
Yeah.
So I'm at Ozma.
Okay.
So I'm at the end of the game. Got my ass absolutely whooped by Ozma for like 10 tries. Might have been like an hour or two. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this down before I get mad and throw my controller.
So maybe the next episode we can give a update on just the ending of Khazan.
Yeah. So, okay, right, where you just beat Hismar, so you're approaching
and I've played this game on
boss.
easy. Oh my God.
You played the game on easy? No.
I've played the game on normal. I just totally undercut my point. I've played the game on normal. You've played on easy, and this gets into our discussion question here.
Yeah. So exactly. I feel like, real quick, because I think this will tie into the discussion question. Favorite boss, worst boss. Because I know my worst boss. I think my favorite boss is, I think it's the Malika fight.
That's your favorite?
I think it's the Malika fight. I think Malika was really cool to fight against.
I was thinking that one too.
Cool second phase. Cool combos with these gigantic dual wield great swords. Man is so strong. He's dual wielding great swords. Like, that's insane. Mm-hmm. But then he's also got that super fast katana that he just absolutely fucks your shit with. It's crazy. Favorite boss right there.
Maluka's sweet.
Your favorite?
I think Renkus, actually, who has...
I hate that boss.
I understand. He has a wide... Actually, wait. What's the elf girl's name again? She was pretty cool, too, actually.
The summon... The one who summons the, specter, right? She joins your,
Timeout. It's her. Yeah. I like bosses that throw a variety of things at you. In which you learn their patterns and can appropriately punish them for it.
I think that's
Bellarine, yes, and she joins you later. Yes. I was gonna say Renkus because I like that he has really distinct phases, but his flamethrower is actually bullshit.
That flamethrower is bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. The way he jumps into the air and then
and you can't see.
You can't see him, and then he shoves his crossbow grappling hook thing into the ground, and then erupts with fire. That shit is wild.
I like that he had he has a gun, a flamethrower, and he does the thing at you. So he was very satisfying to beat, which is maybe something different than favorite boss. So yes, Bellarine. I like that Bellarine has such a wide variety of attacks and phases to her. She throws a lot of shit at you. So when you feel a real sense of accomplishment, having beaten her, it's wow, that was crazy. I somehow got through that.
Right. Worst boss.
Worst boss. I don't want to say Hismar because of recency bias. Hismar would be fine if he just didn't take up so much fucking space and that we didn't have that bug I just told you about.
Yeah, and also if you can actually hit his stupid big fucking head, which I don't understand how you can't.
Somehow the hardest thing about him is it's hard to hit him even though he's fucking enormous. So I don't know what's up with that.
So annoying.
But I don't necessarily have a problem with his design per se. They just need to fix some stuff. Okay. Probably Trokla. That's her name. Traka, the water mage.
Yeah. Oh,
which is kind of funny. My least favorite boss and favorite boss come back to back level wise, and they're both mage type bosses. But Traka is just like, it's a tedious experience actually, and she's cheap. She's fucking cheap.
She like dips out, flies into the air, and then starts shooting like some Kingdom Hearts 4 type.
Yes.
Like arrow bullets, like ethereal bullets at you or whatever.
At any time,
spears, javelins. Cheap.
Yeah, she's at any time she's able to run away from you. I will say I like her jellyfish umbrella. I wouldn't mind buying that.
That's cute. Yeah,
Uniqlo or whatever. Uniqlo, Khazan collaboration. Think about it. Okay. But I just hate. I hate when I hate when difficulty feels arbitrary. And unearned. And for her, it's just like she's always running away from you. You feel lucky if you catch her. And her thing is all about status ailments and status buildup, like lightning, water.
She does them all too, if I remember, or most of them. She does lightning. She does water.
Maybe one more.
Maybe one more. Maybe chaos.
It feels like they all do chaos, don't they?
Yeah.
And it actually leads me to something I really don't like about the game in terms of a weakness of itemization is that resistances are very important here. And if you don't have like really like decent gear, you gotta hold on to your resistance gear, even if it's like super under level, because like resistances make such a big deal, especially on normal. But
I'm like level 140 something and have a 71 ring that does chaos resistance because the game hasn't given me like a better chaos resistance.
You have to hold on to it. I think that's a weakness of the game that they should think. The itemization gets you into problems sometimes, honestly. Like, I totally get why they did it. Again, Diablo influences, Neo influences, but it's kind of annoying sometimes.
Really?
And those are our main gripes with the game. The itemization, the level design is a bit blah, like it,
left to be desired.
There's shortcuts, it's not amazing. It's not amazing level design. I don't mind because the combat is so fucking amazing. So wait, who's your least favorite?
So, okay. My least favorite boss might be a little cheap because there are other bosses that I don't like much, and not like don't like in terms of their design or whatever. I just thought that they were like a piece of shit, hard ass boss. Scalpel sucks.
Oh
but
my God, I can't believe I forgot Scalpel.
That boss fucking sucks. I hate him. He can suck. We'll stop there. My worst boss is the whole reason why I even put it on easy mode to begin with.
Yeah.
Viper.
Viper is nuts. Viper had to get nerfed.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right at the start of the game, basically. After you beat the demo and you get, 2 bosses, right?
Yeah.
I think there's maybe 3, but for sure 2, because you get Yatuga, you got the Blade Phantom, and then I'm pretty sure it's Viper.
It's the first boss after the demo.
It's
super early in the game. You don't have access to most of the things that can help you.
You don't have many healing, right? You don't have many Netherworld energy, which is your healing item. You don't have any skills. You don't have the best gear.
Blacksmith.
You don't have the blacksmith. You don't have the ability to like augment your gear. You have nothing. It's super early. 2-phase fight, but technically it's 4 phases because once you get Viper down to half health in the first phase, he like becomes stronger and does new moves. And then you beat that phase. He like takes his horn from the spear, stabs him, powers up like Broly or whatever. And then you enter the second phase, which you get that phase down to half health, and then he becomes stronger, and that's like another.
There's a ton of things to remember, especially for like if you're a newer player to this kind of genre, and especially early in the game. It's a ridiculous early wall, honestly. Like,
it's crazy.
The only sorry to interrupt. The only comparison I can think of in terms of like crazy hard bosses in proportion to where you encounter them in the game. I'll go back to it again. Sekiro, Madame Butterfly was crazy difficult. You encounter her in like the second or third stage, and she's definitely a skill check, like a wall. It's like, if you can't get past her, then like good luck the rest of the game. And I guess that's Viper too, but like Viper comes like really early.
So early. So here's the thing.
And other bosses are easier after Viper.
Right. I feel like some of the other bosses are way easier after Viper, like super easy. There are maybe a couple where I was like, ooh, not too sure about that. Malika, for example, he might whoop my ass. But Viper, I was playing on normal because at the time when the demo or when the game came out, you could go to easy, but you couldn't go back to normal. Right. So if you change the
Oh,
difficulty
really?
to easy, then you're stuck in that for that playthrough, and that was it.
Okay.
So I was playing on normal, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. It's not a problem. I beat Yutuga, no problem. I beat Blade Phantom, no problem. Couple tries, easy. Got to Viper, got him down to the second phase, and it's at that second phase. I had no healing, nothing else to heal me with, no strong gear or anything, because you can't just like go and grind at that point because it's too early. You're not getting enough lacrima to level up. And so I keep getting to the second phase, and I would get him like almost half health, would almost beat him second phase, get to the second phase, immediately die, second phase, almost beat him, stuff like that, just over and over. I was like, dude, this is madness. This is like the third boss, and I'm at a wall already. This is crazy. So I was like, am I going to go easy? So I was like, you know what?
And what went into that decision?
I think what went into the decision was checking out what easy mode is actually all about.
Yeah.
So,
and let's get into this, what we've alluded to, our discussion questions. We start to wrap up here.
Right. So easy mode. In this game, not many Souls games have easy modes, obviously.
No.
It's all about the pride and accomplishment, and easy modes are for pussies and whatever, hardcore gamer, TM.
Get good,
or get out, I guess.
or get out.
Whatever.
What was that Sekiro meme? Like, I studied the blade.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll have to put it on
There's
the screen.
some
Yeah,
tweets.
so I studied the blade.
We'll put it up here. I don't know.
Whatever the hell it is. So, okay, it has an easy mode. So I was like, what's that about?
Yeah.
So in easy mode, Khazan deals more damage. He takes less damage. He has increased elemental resistance.
Okay.
And he stamina recharges a little bit faster, and he gets an increased weight limit.
Oh, so the bosses don't get...
Bosses don't change.
Oh, that's interesting.
Boss damage, or because you take less damage, I guess you could
Yeah.
say like boss damage changes. But the bosses technically aren't easier. There's no handicap to where they do less damage or anything. It's all just kind of like stat buffs, really, for Khazan.
I like that take on it, and I think that's the better way to do it. Buff the player.
Buff the player. And so that's where I was like, okay, well, the bosses don't change. It's still punishing. I put it to easy, and I still got bodied by Viper. But it only took me like maybe less than five tries.
And it's not like... That's good. Actually, I didn't know what easy mode entailed, because it's not like we've had totally different experiences. We can still talk about the same bosses and the same enemies. It's not like they have different movesets or anything like that. No, that's good.
The whole world doesn't change in any way. The only thing that changes is that you're just a tiny bit stronger. So now, like, I'm wearing, heavier armor, and my weight limit is still at like an A, as opposed to because with the new update, you can now change it back to normal. So I experimented with normal a little bit, and I changed it, and my weight limit went to a B, and that significantly changed my dash capabilities. And I'm running a spear, so I was like, I guess I'm going to just stay on easy, beat the game on easy, run a new game plus when DLC comes out, play it on normal, and then do that. But yeah, knowing that the bosses don't change, knowing that nothing else really changes aside from the buffs on Khazan, I was like, that makes sense. That seems like a good easy mode. So I don't know. Do Souls games need easy modes? Hearing what Khazan does,
I think they don't need it, but I think... Because at the end of the day, I think players can come in with an understanding of what a Souls game or a Souls-like is. They've probably heard of them before, and the first thing they'll see is like, this is difficult.
Right.
You should know what to expect.
And I should quantify. I beat Neo.
Yeah.
I beat Neo 2. I beat Wo Long. I beat Lies of P. I didn't beat Sekiro because the Guardian Ape sucks.
We could talk about that another time.
I got really close to beating Bloodborne, but then I just stopped for some reason. So I've beaten a lot of Souls games. I beat other indie Souls games as well. So and these games don't have easy modes, right? They're just kind of like what you see is what you get, and that's that. This is the first Souls game that I can think of off the top of my head that has an easy mode where I was like, I'm going to consider it, and then I did it.
Right.
Not many are like that. So I just want to put that out there, that I'm not a wimp.
Hey.
I'm a baby.
You know what?
But I'm not a wimp.
Here's the card back.
Yes.
You got it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know that may look like a Costco card, but it's a Souls card.
It's the Souls card.
It's a Souls card. Yeah, that's just a misprint on there.
Yeah. Damn Costco.
But
They didn't.
I think it's an important question because I guess I'm just tripped up on like I don't think need. I think it'd be a nice to have. I think here's a so that's the right way to go about the easy mode, and I'm encouraged to hear it that they're experimenting with that. I think that's great. I think the way it should be implemented is another one of my top 5 games, actually, Hades.
Yes.
Which has God mode, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
I never used it.
Same. Got to Hades and just got my ass fucking whooped.
Understandable. It's your dad. But
damn it, Dad.
But you can toggle it on or off at any time, and it's more of a buff to your character as I believe, as opposed to a nerf. People should want to be able to explore the narrative, you know? And however you may feel about Khazan's narrative in this case. But I think, you know, for Souls-likes in general, it should be considered as an implementation. I think there's nothing wrong with it, honestly. Just give the option, you know.
Exactly. That's all it is, really. It's just an option. You know, because at the end of the day, the boss is still hard. You know, even if I'm buffed and I do a little bit more damage and I take a little bit less damage and I'm a lighter, the boss still has X amount of phases, still has X amount of health. Again, it's not like the boss is nerfed. It doesn't have less health. It doesn't take more stamina damage or anything like that. Like it's just really a slight buff to you. And so the option, I can turn it on. If I'm getting whooped by this boss Viper, I can turn it on and be like, haha, you're dead. And then I can turn it off and be like, all right, now I'm back to normal old getting crushed. You died.
I think if it's implemented in an intelligent way, like it seems like they have done here in Khazan, there's absolutely nothing wrong with Souls games, Souls-likes, having a toggleable, you know, and it's up to the developers how they want to implement it. Like,
of course,
you could be locked out of it, you know, like if you do it, it could be how the rest of the playthrough is. I think it's better what Khazan has done in this update and how Hades did it. Like, just feel it out, you know, like try to do the game as it's intended, perhaps, with normal, and if you're having a tough time, flip it on. The first Berserker Khazan, love this game, 75 hours in it so far, near the end. It sounds like you're about the same. Again, you know, level design could use some work. There's some UI things that they're continuing to work on and patch. Example, the creature codex, like apparently there's like, it shows what it's resistant to in the thing there, but you can barely freaking see it.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, what the hell? That would have helped.
Why can't I warp between Blade Nexuses?
That's
they're working on that, though.
Yeah, that's supposed to be in an update, and I thought that it was in this like May 15th update or something. Maybe I didn't see it in there, but I tried just yesterday and I couldn't do it.
Story could use whatever. Story's what it is. It's not awful. It's just kind of cut and dried.
Very predictable.
Here's the thing with all these updates, though, and this is one of the last things I want to say before I praise the game. I said the things I didn't love as much, but I think something that's kind of strange, especially with the Souls-like in which momentum is so important, you know, like I need to keep playing, I need to keep trying, you know, like playing a Souls-like is like a learned language, you know. You figure out the rhythms of the game. It's annoying with all these updates, though, honestly. Like, it kind of breaks up my momentum again. It's like, all right, another patch? Patch?
I got to download this patch, and it nerfed these bosses, it buffed these bosses, it did this to the inventory system, whatever.
And this is how games are now, you know? Like, I've come to accept that, as I have many things.
Yikes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was loud.
I've come to accept that most games are essentially live service games in terms of the post-launch updates, and they've done good stuff. Khazan has post-launch, but I'm just saying it's kind of annoying when I'm trying to like really like blaze through a game as I usually do with these Souls-likes, and I gotta wait. Like if my game is updating as much as Helldivers 2 is, we you know, I don't want to say we have a problem, but it's kind of annoying.
Right. Like, can we wait?
So here are the things I love, though. Again, this is some of the best combat I've played in the Souls-like in a long time, since 2019 Sekiro, I would say. I'm comfortable saying that.
That game is so good. Combat in Khazan is just really good.
graphics are lush. You know, I love their style. Characters are solid. It does so many things right, and I just love what the developer Neo has done. Neapel?
Neo.
No. Neo? N-I-O-H? No. And it seems like they got a great team behind them. Reading, you know, these dev blogs, you know, reading the director, like the team has been really touched by the outpouring of love for the game, and they just seem like they generally love this stuff, and they put their spin on it, which makes the whole genre richer with, you know, the really distinct, sick weapon types that we didn't talk about enough.
No, we sure didn't.
But there was so much to get into.
Too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2 words, you know, it's hot and hard.
It's hot and hard.
It's hot and hard.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Khazan after that?
No, I think, you know, I think it's a really great game. I think if you're not playing it already, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
But you probably already beaten it, in which case, welcome to the Soulsbuds army.
Why are you assuming that? You think people listening to this have beaten the...
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, why not? I like to
I'll
believe.
assume. I like to assume.
Good.
Makes us good people.
It does. Anyway,
Well,
we'll talk about it next podcast. I think we can give an update. Like, we'll for sure have the game beaten by next, and we'll be talking Elden Ring, Night Rain. Excited for that. And
May 30th, that'll be next Friday at the time of this recording.
That'll
And
be
we
great.
are really excited to talk about that, episode 3.
And 3, we're doing great, man. We're on
Yeah,
a roll,
we're
and we'll
on
have
a
some
roll.
other Souls games to preview. Here's what happened with this episode. A little peek behind the curtain. We had to bump multiple segments out of this one because the Elden Ring movie news was like, oh my god, we have to do this. So
It's just a crazy thing that just so happened to drop
As
the
I
day
said,
before we recorded. Like,
this is the closest we'll get to breaking news. Like oh my god, we
Yeah,
have to.
have to.
So we pretty much have episode 3 ready to go already. All right, and you know, with that said, this has been episode 2. We'll have a prop next time, maybe right here. We might have a skull.
something.
We'll see.
You died.
We're gonna keep iterating the stage, and man, it's growing.
It's
I love
happening.
it.
Look at us, all well lit and everything.
Look at us.
Look at us. Gorgeous.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
All right. Well, thanks for resting at the bonfire with us today, buds. You can reach us on all social at Soulsbuds Pod, and you can hit us on email at soulsbudspod@gmail.com if you want us to yap about something. Let us know.
Get at us, Garland. Get at us, okay?
You hear us?
Do you game Gar? We want to know.
If you want to support the show, consider subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to things on the internet, at the Soulsbuds Podcast.
Well, that's it for us, man. We've been your Souls Buds, and we'll see you at the next bonfire.
Bye.
Bye.